Act 1 of The Beaux' Duel, or A Soldier for the Ladies, by Susanna Centlivre. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. The Prologue, by a Gentleman. What hazards poets run in times like these, sure to offend, uncertain whom to please. If in a well-worked story they aspire to imitate old Rome's or Athens' fire, it will not do, for straight the cry shall be, 'tis a forced heavy piece of bombacetry. If comedy's their theme, 'tis 10 to 1, it dwindles into farce, and then 'tis gone. If farce their subject be, this witty age holds that below the grandeur of the stage, our female author, though she sees what fate does the event of such attempts still wait, with a true British courage ventures on, thinks nothing honour without danger won. She fain would shew our great forefathers' days, when virtue, honour, courage wore the bays. Fain would she kindle up those fading fires that warmed their noble blood to fierce desires, when the bold hero, after tedious wars, with bleeding wounds adorned and glorious scars, from conquest back returned with laurels crowned, where from the fair their just rewards they found. She thinkest a crime in any one to dare, or hope to gain a conquest o'er the fair, who ne'er could boast of victory in war. Let but your arms abroad successful prove, the fair at home shall crown your toils with love. Dramatis Personae.
Colonel Manley in love with Clorinda. Read by Adrian Stevens.
Captain Belmine, his friend. Read by Elijah Fisher.
Toper, an enemy to matrimony, and a friend to the bottle. Read by Todd.
Sir William Mode, a fop, in love with Clorinda, and countenanced by her father. Read by Beeswax Candle.
Ogle, a fortune hunter, a conceited fellow that fancies everybody is in love with him. Read by Greg Giordano.
Careful, father to Clorinda. Read by Inco.
Clorinda, in love with Manley. Read by Val Roth.
Amelia, her cousin, an heiress, newly come out of the country. Read by Jen Broda.
Mrs. Plotwell, formerly a mistress to Balmain. Read by Sonia.
Mrs. Flora, Clorinda's maid. Read by Inco.
Mrs. Plotwell's maid. Read by Elsie Selwyn.
Drawer. Read by Redrun. Sergeant. Read by Redrun.
Laric as La Riviere servant. Read by Alan Mapstone. Toby. Read by Alan Mapstone.
Footman. Read by David Purdy.
Porter. Read by Jim Locke.
Lan the Tavern Keeper. Read by Inco.
Stage directions. Read by Christine Rutger. The scene, London. Act 1, Scene 1. Scene, the street. Enter Colonel Manley.
How do men labour to fool themselves? What pains did I spare, or excuse did I not invent, to persuade my friends I was going another way, to get rid of their troublesome ceremony that would have waited on me home, and all this for an opportunity only of taking a turn or two before this window. Oh, love, how powerful are thy charms, thus to unman, and send me like a boy, gaping after imaginary joys. Not all the hazards of a soldier's life could so much affect me as the dreadful apprehension of displeasing this girl. Whatever I do, whether I eat or drink, whether I sleep or wake, whether I'm at home alone or abroad in company, my thoughts are still of her. She's always present. I can see nothing but her. I can hear nothing but her. I can think of nothing but her. And in short, I care for nothing but her. 'Tis happiness enough for any man to love and be beloved by such a woman. She's so beautiful, so agreeable, and so loving, yet so virtuous, so chaste, and so constant, that if her father's rigid opposition were removed, nothing could add to the blessing which lies in store for me.
Enter Captain Belmayne, who goes within 2 or 3 yards of the door, then stops short, looks up.
"Oh, this must be the house. But what the devil am I? The better for it the doors are locked, windows barred, my mistress asleep, and I may return like an ass as I came, without so much as being dreamed of. Can love, that never fails its votaries at a pinch, inspire no stratagem now? Egad, I was never more able to offer him a plentiful sacrifice. And did my mistress know with what warm desires I come, she'd meet me half-way, or she deserves to die a maid."
The more I think, I still perplex myself the more, like a poor fly in a spider's web. By labouring to get loose, I work myself faster in the toil. And why should I struggle any longer with what I can't master, or desire to be without what I'm persuaded is the greatest blessing in the world? I am resolved I will love on.
Turns short upon the captain.
Ha! A man, and if I mistake not, mad Belmayne, whom I left at the Rose. He's upon some amorous design, but is too open to hide anything from his friend. I'll accost him. Good morrow, Captain. I commend your early industry. You are choosing some fortified piece of virtue to lay a manly siege to.
"Ha, Colonel, good morrow to you with all my heart. No, faith, I never stay the formality of a siege. 'Tis your honourable lovers are forced to undergo that drudgery, whenever I meet any, as rarely do, that resist the shock of my first assault. I fairly draw off to the next, who are sure to surrender upon more easy terms."
So you take all by storm, plunder the garrison, fire their quarters, and march off in triumph.
What I do can't be comprehended by constant pulling lovers. They can't bear those strong joys we suck from our lusty draughts of love. Like weak-sighted birds, they fly about in twilight of pleasure, not able to bear the meridional heat and pleasure of it. One kind glance crowns your hopes, and raises you to the highest happiness, but then a frown, or sour look, Colonel, throws you down again to despair, so that—
Have a care, Captain, how far you launch out in this strain, lest you be too like our modern widows, who exclaim most against a second husband, when they are just upon the point of having one.
So that from my laughing at honourable lovers, as you call them, you unlearnedly infer I am one myself.
Nay, raillery apart, it has been seriously observed that you are—
What?
Very much altered of late.
How? Faith, I think myself the same man. I have the same appetites, the same desires that ever I had.
Ay, but you saunter about in solitary places, avoid your acquaintance, and when you can't escape them are more uneasy than a rich miser with a borrowing friend. And here, now, I find you out of your way, addressing yourself to senseless wood and stone.
Ay, my friend, but this senseless wood includes a more beautiful Daphne than e'er the Delian god pursued, a girl so bright, so sparkling, and what recommends her much more to me, so coming,
embraces him,
that had she lived in the days of Venus, she would have rivaled that goddess and outdone her too in her own attributes.
Have a care you don't misplace your worship, for to my particular knowledge no such person lodges in this house.
To my more particular knowledge, such a person does lodge in this house, and in the room that looks out at that window too.
Colonel Manley, aside.
Ah, Clorinda lodges there, 'tis true, but that she's such as he describes is false. Yet she's a woman, and where dissembling grows so much in use, perfection must be a stranger. I'll for a while lay by the implicit lover for the more inquisitive jealous man, and try him farther. Well, I may be deceived, but how do you know you are so too?
Why, faith, since I know you to be an honest fellow and a man of honour, I don't care if I trust you with the secret, upon condition your assistance shan't be wanting upon occasion.
Colonel Manley, aside.
'Slife, I shall be drawn in to help him away with my mistress. If she be such as you describe, I believe you will have no great occasion for help, but to the purpose.
Why, you must know that in this house lives a damned positive ill-natured old fellow.
Colonel Manley, aside.
I know it too well, or by this time his daughter had been out of your reach.
And that there's a young lady, his daughter, niece, or something.
Aye, very probable. What then?
Why, that likes my person, that's all.
How do you know this?
Know it? I have infallible signs of it. She makes assignations with me, and keeps them, receives my addresses, letters, and songs, nay, sings them too. And if there'd been signs she likes me, the devil's in it.
Well, but her name.
Aside.
I'll yet believe Clorinda innocent, and 'tis someone else he mistakes for her.
Nay, now, faith, Colonel, you are unreasonable. You know 'tis not fair to tell names.
Not tell me her name? Then I shall think you trifled with me all this while, and scorn the friendship I offer.
I'll rather tell you all I know, but as for her name, faith, and troth, I know no more hers than she does mine. Her desire to be unknown herself made her the less pressing, I suppose, so that we freely pass among ourselves for Caledon and Clo, as you may see by this song, if you'll be at the pains of reading it. 'Tis the last I sent her, and though inconsiderable in itself, receives from her voice inestimable value.
Colonel Manley, aside.
Oh, my soul! The very song I heard Clorinda sing, 'tis she past all doubt.
What, at a stand, Colonel? Ha! What means all this concern?
'Tis for you, my friend. That woman you admire I know to be the most cunning, treacherous, and false dissembler, nay, worse, if worse can be, in the world. I would advise you to proceed with caution, for husbands, Captain, too late repent when they can't quit the ill.
Oh, if it be only my dangers that disturb you, I'll soon ease you of that trouble. Marriage is not the course I steer. We never admit so sour a thought to turn our more pleasant conversation.
How? Not marry? What then does all this tend to?
Oh, that's unreasonable again. Why, nothing but a little harmless mirth or so.
Colonel Manley, aside.
Oh, my soul, he designs to debauch her.
Captain Belmayne, aside.
Ha! The Colonel in his dumps again. There's something in it I don't understand.
Hark ye, Captain, I know you have courage, and always took you for a man of honour. Therefore think it worth my while to tell you this woman you have been so free with is one I have long time loved. Therefore expect you'll give me unquestionable proofs of what you have said, or meet me with your sword, and so leave you to prepare yourself for which you think most proper.
Going. Captain Belmayne, aside.
Heyday! Have I been all this while making a confidant of my rival, and telling my secrets to the only man I ought to hide them from? Now I perceive what was made him so testy, but he shan't part thus. Look'ee, Colonel, to show how much I value your friendship, I'll consent to what you propose, and though fighting may be of less trouble, yet for your ease I'll undertake to make out what I've said.
Upon that condition, I'll call you friend again, but if you should fail, you had best look to it.
Here's some company coming this way. Let's retire till they pass. Then I'll tell you our whole intrigue, and leave you to judge whether I have reason to think as I do.
They withdraw. Enter Sir William Mode.
Le Riviere?
Sir?
List to me if you don't speak plain English. I shall have the world think I'm such a sloven as to keep an English fellow. Do you hear? If you don't mimic it better, I shall turn you away.
Me will take all the care imaginable, sir.
Very well. Is the music all come?
Yes, sir. Here be the fiddle, the hautboy, the courtel, and the bass viol. They be all disposed for to receive your command.
'Tis very well. Dear, do you marshal them in order before this window, and see they be ready to strike up as soon as I give the word.
The Colonel and Captain appear.
What the devil's here? Another lover? What think you now, Colonel? Your mistress must be more than woman, if she can hold out against such a formal siege.
This fop I know too well to be jealous of, and know her, so far from encouraging him, that her father's authority, which countenances him, can scarce procure him common civility from her.
Hist, the thing opens.
Well, 'tis an unspeakable happiness we men of parts enjoy above the rest of mankind. By our good management we make our access to everything we admire easy and certain. How many thick-skulled fellows are content to dream of their mistresses, while I take a more secure method, and wake her in the morning with harmonious music. I wonder how the ladies can suffer these idle fellows that take no more pains to please them. For my own part, I believe I have something extraordinary in me that makes me so acceptable to all the women I come in company with. Well, music? I hope you will all show yourselves masters in your performance. Come, strike up. Ah, merciful Apollo, what a hideous noise you make! There's a sound fitter to storm a breach with than approach a lady's slumbers. Play some soft air. Concert of flutes would have done well.
While the music plays, he uses a great many odd postures. Seeing the door open, the music ceases, and he runs to meet Clorinda's maid.
How? The door open?
Oh, my dear angel, how does my goddess receive my morning sacrifice?
As she does everything that comes from the incomparable Sir William Mode, with particular marks of favour in private, though she's obliged to lay great restraint on her carriage in public, to appear cold to him.
But methinks she need not be reserved, since I have her father's consent.
Ay, 'tis that makes her so. For his cross humour, should she show the affection she really has for you, would make him run counter to what he so eagerly pursues now, out of mere opposition, for he never opposed Colonel Manley till she expressed some liking for him, and now she fears should she own her love for you, 'twould prove as fatal to her hopes, therefore begs you, by me, to take all indifference in public for particular marks of favour.
Well, I'll take your advice, and sweet Mrs. Flora, let me entreat you to accept of this small acknowledgment for favours I have received by your means.
Oh, Lord, sir, I vow I'm ashamed, but I shall be always ready to do your good offices with my lady. Sir, your servant.
Exit.
Adieu, angel. Here, music, strike up a merry ramble and lead to my lodgings.
Exit.
Oh, woman, woman! Now, friend, I believe all you said, and a great deal more, yet who could expect with so much beauty such ugly falsehood? For thee, or any man, she might have some plea, but this sign of a man, to fall so low, argues a very depraved appetite. 'Sdeath, I can't bear the thoughts on't.
Have a little patience, and every small discovery will help you forward to your lost liberty. Before tomorrow night I'll lay such convincing proofs before your eyes as shall infallibly complete your cure.
What's here? Another serenade? More lovers yet?
Enter Toper, singing.
The devil a bit care I for a wife, so I have but wine and a fire. A wench when I please my passion to ease, the devil a wife I desire.
Ha ha, drunken toper, reeling home after a night's debauch. Sure he's no lover. 'Twould be impossible for the blind god to find his heart for the fumes of wine. Besides, 'tis so indifferent to everything else, there's no taking it but with a bottle.
Ha! Toper, thou holdest thy own yet, I see.
Colonel, good morrow. I wish you hold your own, boy. For I met a thing in the next street may chance undermined your foundation. One who says he can do more in one night than you in all the days of the week.
What do you mean?
Why, I met Sir William Mode, big with success, returning from Clarinda, who, he says, encourages his addresses in private, and only favours you in public to egg her father on to consummation with him. And this he purchased with a serenade.
'Sdeath, doth he boast of his success, and must my misfortune be the subject of the coxcomb's raillery? Am I published to the world as a blind for his designs? Hell and furies! 'Tis not to be borne. I'll after him immediately, and were every vanity about him a Hercules, I'd force my way through them all to stop that foul breath of his.
Going.
Hold, you will but widen the sore you design to heal. 'Twill be no hard matter from the coxcomb's fruitful impertinence to take another occasion for quarrelling, and then pay old scores, or if it be my luck, first to meet the opportunity. You may be sure I'll throw in a hearty thrust for you.
Nay, sir, you may save yourself the labour of quarrelling, for he won't answer expectation, I assure you.
A coward! Nay, then he shall dance a minute the length of the street, while it be time on his backside.
Hang him! He's not worth our resentment. Prithee, Toper, what is he? For I have but barely seen him.
In the first place, he's a mere compound of powder, paint, and affection, so perfumed you may smell him a mile. He thinks every woman in love with him, and will allow no man to claim a share in aught above a chambermaid, or stand competition with his parts a person.
And yet not fight, say you?
Fight? No, no, he hates the sight of a drawn sword, as much as I do that of an empty bottle. He will sometimes pretend to courage, as some women will to honour and honesty, though their inclinations tend to neither, no more than mine to matrimony. He has £4,000 a year, which he spends in intrigues, fine clothes, and music, and he has always as many fiddlers at his heels as the general officers at his levee.
Whose attendance is better rewarded, I fancy. No doubt they taste the fruits of their labours sweetly.
In my conscience, I believe they deserve it, for who becomes his favourite must use as much flattery as would purchase a maidenhead, though the woman's design was marriage. Ah, that fortune should be so liberal to such a fool, when so many honest fellows fit in a coffee-house all the evening for want of money to go to a tavern.
Riches are the common chance of knaves and fools. Fortune is rarely favourable to man of sense. 'Tis with difficulty and danger they purchase a smile from the fickle mistress, but fools are still her care. I shall take more notice of this fellow the next time I see him.
Which may be this morning, if you will, for he just now invited me to an entertainment of music that is to be performed at his chamber by some of the best masters. There will be champagne, boy.
Will you go, Colonel?
Not I. The conversation of town ladies, who entertain you with the opinions of 50 fools of their wit and beauty, and how managed by them to their ruin, would be 1,000 times more acceptable to me than the medley chap of fops and fiddlers.
Then you won't go?
No, I'll expect you at my lodgings.
Exit.
But you will. There's champagne, box of the company.
And music too. If that be good, the company be hanged.
Exit. Scene changes to Clorinda's lodging in her father's house. Enter Clorinda and her cousin Amelia, undressed as waked by the serenade.
Dear Amelia, you ask so many questions. Prithee, have some pity and spare me a little.
Dear cousin, do you pity me and answer me a little?
I have answered you these 3 days you have been in town. More questions than all the astrologers and philomaths in London could resolve in a month.
And I have as many more to ask before I can be satisfied. I'd fain know the cause of all this alteration. Why so much uneasiness, and why so much spleen? Never pleased but when you are displeased, nor like your company, but when you are alone. In short, I have observed—
What have you observed, cousin?
Why, that your father is never well, but when talking of Sir William, nor you pleased, but when you are thinking of somebody else.
Oh, how inquisitive are girls!
Oh, how reserved are lovers!
Prithee, cousin, learn to be more serious.
Prithee, cousin, learn to be more free.
Then you positively believe I am in love?
Positively.
And with?
Another guess man than your father designs for you.
And nothing
will persuade me to the contrary.
Why then I am, and since 'tis in vain to hide it from you, Amelia, I'll try you with the confidence I hitherto thought you too young for.
Amelia aside.
Alas, she little thinks I have as great intrigues of my own as any she can trust me with, though I have been but 3 days in town.
I am, as you see, cousin, besieged night and day, by two as different as night and day. One in the head of innumerable fopperies and insolences attacks me, with the assurance of a conqueror before he enters the field, being supported by the harsh authority of a rigid father. The other, after 1,000 obsequious demonstrations of love at respectful distance, courts to be admitted mine rather than seeks to have me his.
In my conscience, were it my case, I should not be at a stand which to choose, there being such apparent difference.
Nay, there is more yet, for one is generous and brave, the other cowardly and pitiful, one judicious, t'other impertinent, one constant, t'other whimsical, one a man of sense, t'other a blockhead, one admired by all, t'other ridiculed by all.
One, I suppose, is the gentleman that gave the serenade, Sir William, of whom I have heard so much since I came to town. But the other, Clorinda, I fear is nowhere to be found. Such men appear but as they say the phoenix does, not above one in an age.
And that ours has one in him, the judicious part in mankind bears witness.
Lovers, Clorinda, like people in motion, fancy everything they see, moves as they do, and maybe from the knowledge of your own principles and resolutions, you form your notion of his.
Aside.
Now could I almost find in my heart to discover my own intrigue, if 'twere only to let her see. There are men that equal, if not exceed hers, but that I'm ashamed of its forwardness in so short a time. But how comes it, cousin, that we never see this man?
Before you came to town, my father forbid him in the house, with any further pretensions to me, upon Sir William's account, to whom his honour was engaged before he saw him, or else I believe his follies would have outweighed his estate, for he, you know.
I know too much of him, for I have seen him.
So you have t'other too. He was one of the two that bowed to us t'other night from the side-box, and of whom you have since been so inquisitive, though I never let you into the secret till now.
Of one of those?
Aside.
I know a secret which I believe you are a stranger to, and which I would not for the world discover till I know more on it. If that be he, I like him as well as you can, but I think a gentleman of Sir William's estate should not seem so contemptible.
Oh, dear cousin, don't name him. For besides the particular aversion I have to him, 'twould beget in the world a very slender opinion of my sense, should I encourage such a fop.
Oh, quite contrary. Besides, cousin, if you hate him, you can never get it in your power to torment him more than by marrying him.
That would be making myself uneasy. Purely to trouble another? No, no, I must have some contrivance to expose him, and our neighbour, Mrs. Plotwell, shall help me do it.
Does that lady still continue her persecution of fops?
With as much address and success as ever. And her pleasant accounts of her feigned intrigues makes her very entertaining company. She hates Sir William Mode, and I am sure will assist in anything. I never had a stronger temptation to disobedience than now. Love and merit plead on manly side. Reason too approves my choice. The other's an empty nothing, a mere talker. We'll show his right side. Expose him. Shall we not, my dear?
With all my heart. I love mischief so well, I can refuse nothing that farthers that.
End of the first act.